they are deeply engaged. They're invested to their roles and committed to pushing the boundaries of their potential. These connections between attraction and high performance and is pivotal. It's the fuel that propels our organization forward. Let's also touch on some psychology. The attraction isn't just about flashy advertisement. It's about understanding the psychology of talent. It's about aligning organizational values and with individual aspirations. This psychology, this understanding of what truly attracts and engages individuals is the core of managing high performance. It's about nurturing an environment where individuals thrive, where their potential is not just recognized but also realized. Importance, then we go to the importance of recruitment. Recruitment isn't merely about filling job vacancies, it's meticulous process that individuals are brought on board. The right individuals are brought on board. The sourcing phase is the heartbeat of recruitment. It's about casting a wide net through various channels, from job boards to social media platforms, to ensure a diverse pool of candidates. Psychology plays a vital role in both managing high performance and recruitment. Understanding individual motivations and tailoring approaches to maximize performance is key. Similarly, in recruitment, comprehending the psychological understanding of candidates' aspiration is crucial. It's not just about qualification on paper, it's about identifying candidates whose values and aspiration resonate with their organizational culture and goals. Both attraction and recruitment are integral components of building a dynamic workforce. Attraction sets the stage, paints the picture, and invites individuals to consider joining the organizations, while in recruitment is the methodical execution of the vision. Now I'd like to call my colleague to continue ahead.
Okay, hello everyone. I would like to talk about something about the internal and cultural factors that affect the organization become unattractiveness. And the first one is the internal factors, and it includes 5 points. And first one is ineffective leadership. If a company struggle with the transparency and open communication, and some leaders maybe couldn't give the very clear mission of the future, and in this situation, this would lead to the employees feel confusion and uncertainty, and also they could have the problem with their future and purpose of the work. And those 3 points is not working out yet. This point based on the different career values. And the first one is someone focused on the reputation and reputation. And second one is someone wants a high salary, and the third one is someone wants more family time. And if the company couldn't accommodate these requirements, and it would be the organization's liability. And the last one is the inflexible policies. And in a company, the employees have the variety needs, and if the company couldn't accommodate those variety needs, and like the working time arrangement, and in this situation, the organization would be out of happiness. And the next one is the cultural factors, and I one is the lack of diversity and inclusion. The homogeneous team often have the same ideas and the same viewpoints, and with the lack of the different ideas, the teams will become less creativity and could do the innovation. And also, I want to talk about something about top talent. And in some situation, the top talent, especially for those from the different backgrounds, people, they more pay attention to the company's reputation of diversity and inclusion. And second one is the effective communication. And I think these have the same ideas with the effective leadership. But this part I want to talk more about the effective channels. In some companies, they maybe create a lot of channels to let the top leaders have the chance to listen to the bottom voice, but it's really it's a problem that they have a lot of channels, but it's ineffective. I just suggest the company to have the effective channels, like to cut some channels that's not working or not difficult, is not working or not impossible. Sorry. Yeah, I just want to suggest the company to create more high quality channels. That's the problem. And the third one is the lack of empowerment. And the empowerment is a sense of accomplishment, a sense of ownership. And if the company do a lot of micromanagement, and it would lead the employees to lose the motivation, and maybe they don't want to do anything beyond their assigned duties. And next one is the factors that cause the organization recruitment failures. And the first one is the unclear recruitment goals and needs. I think as a human resource department, the first step one for us is to know what we want. And if we, without a clear recruitment goals, they maybe bring a problem with us to access the candidates' quality. And in some company, they have a lot of stakeholders, and everyone have the different expectations of the position. And in this situation, it will lead to the candidates' skills couldn't align with the actual position requirements. And next one is the attractiveness employee brand. This would I will talk about 3 points. First one is awareness. That means how our employer brand how others know our employer brand. That we need to build the brand awareness and take part in the social work to spread our employer brand. And second one is attraction. It's how our employer brand help us, our company, to attract the candidates. And the last one is the experience. That means how the candidates experience our employer brand, and maybe after our recruitment, the employer want to recommend our company to the others. And the next one is the inefficient recruitment plans and process. If a company do a lot of interview round and often make the slow decision making and ask the candidate to come to our company once again, it would waste a lot of time, effort, and financial resources. And the last one is the employee referrals. This picture shows us the 40% source from the hires comes from the employer referrals. If a company ignore the employer referrals, this maybe make the company lose a lot of opportunities for the successful hires. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaukat Chaudhary. I will continue the next portion of the presentation. So, different companies take different strategies to attract top talents to the company. So, I will discuss 5 strategies that company may take to attract the current talents to the company. First one is focus on employer branding. So, employer branding is very important because it lets the job candidates know that the job is very important and the company is doing really well. So, first of all, you need to showcase your core values. You need to publish your core values to the company website so that prospective candidates can look at it and understand what the company is all about. And next thing is diverse promotion channel. When you are posting job advertisement, you can post it in different channels, including the social media, so that it can reach all the job candidates all over the country. And another thing is you need to tailor make the contents of the content of the advertisement so that everyone gets the appropriate advertisement. The next one is enhancing your company culture. So fostering a positive culture is very important. If you treat your employees well, they would be satisfied and they would be able to perform in a better way. And another important thing is finding out candidates who actually match your company culture. And so it is really important for company to find out the candidates who actually potentially manage to uphold the culture of the company and participate well in the company. Next is build testimonials. The company can publish testimonials, genuine testimonials of the employees of the company to the company website so that the candidates can relate more in a better way through the testimonials of the existing employees of the company. moreover, the thing is, if they connect with the employees of the company that they are getting good service from the company, they are satisfied, then they would be more interested and attracted to work in the company. Next is impart positive candidate experience. So throughout the interview process, it is very important to ensure positive candidate experience, because if a candidate is satisfied with the interview process, it doesn't sometimes it doesn't matter whether he is selected at the end of the interview process or not, but they feel satisfied. In order to do that, we need to provide timely updates. The employees need to provide timely updates and constructive feedbacks to the potential candidates. Next is make use of referrals. So the company should implement a robust referral system where whoever among the employees refer a good fit for the company, they would be able to reward the person so that they are excited. Also, they get the right fit for the company to work for the company. Because being an employee, the person is able to understand the core values of the company, so they can refer the correct person to work in that company. Next is there are a lot of theories. So I'll cover the three theories for talent attraction. It could also be used for recruitment process. The first one is expectancy theory. Expectancy theory is individuals are motivated to perform if they know that their performance would lead to reward, and it is very important for the company to make it clear what reward a person is going to get when he is joining a company. So if they are satisfied with the reward and they think that their effort will translate into good reward and benefits from the company, they would be more attracted in joining the company. So next theory would be person-environment fit theory. So person influences environment and vice versa. Environment also influences the people. So it is important for company to match their job description and their company values with the candidates who have the same types of values and same types of characteristics. If it matches properly, then it is good for the company. They get a high performing employee, and employee also becomes satisfied. So it is really important. The next one is social exchange theory. So that theory states that interaction between two parties that implement a cost benefit analysis between two parties. When two parties are interacting, they think of what they are giving and what they are getting. So it is important to ensure a transparent exchange between the employers and the potential employees, so that potential employee can understand that, okay, if I do this thing, the company will give me these rewards. So it is also important to match their expectation and make each other understand the expectation they are having from each other. So if we implement all these strategies in our company recruitment and attraction, it will lead to aligning candidate skills and efforts with reward, which will boost motivation. And it will also increase commitment and which will improve the performance level of the employees. And aligning candidates with organizational culture will ensure increased success for the company. It will improve retention, decrease the turnover, which will ensure consistent performance for the company over the years. And supporting the workforce consistently and constantly will help achieve higher performance. Thank you. Now I'll invite the next presenter.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm Ritik Khanna. I'll be concluding this presentation, and I'm so thrilled to address to you on a topic that sits at the intersection of psychology. Yes, I'm talking about the methods for predicting occupational outcome. Now, it's a very fascinating concept because it's directly correlated. It directly correlates personality types and job performance. So, without further ado, let's dig into it. Now, one of the first steps that happens in recruitment is psychometric test. Now, GMA, which stands for General Mental Ability, is a type of psychometric test which is a powerful predictor to understand individuals' potential success. Now, basically, if you score high in this test, it's highly likely that you'll get familiarized with the job roles and prospects quickly, as compared if you score a lower score in GMA test, where it takes more time for you to adjust into the system. Now, if I talk purely math here, GMA test has a predictive value of only 50%. That's why there's a need to complement GMA tests with other things as well. Now, when I say other things, I mean cognitive ability tests, STJs, emotional assessments, job fit theory. Now, again, if you talk about stats, if you combine GMA test with integrity test, it increases the predictability to up to 20%. At the same time, if you combine GMA test with structured and unstructured interviews, it increases the predictability by 18 and 13% respectively. But that's not the only thing that you can do. You can also read about 5 personality traits. Now, basically, big 5 personality traits, or we usually know it by the acronym OCEAN, is used to represent big 5 personality traits, which includes openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Okay, so if I talk very basically, openness is basically how willing is a person to try out new things. Conscientiousness, I don't know, I never seem to correctly pronounce this word, but it refers to an individual desire to be diligent and careful. Third, extroversion, it measures how energetic and how outgoing a person is. Fourth, it refers how agreeableness refers to how a person interacts with other people. And neuroticism, it is how likely someone experiences negative emotion. So if you now look clearly, the first four, OCA, OCEA, are directly correlated with job performance. On the other hand, neuroticism, it is a predictor for job dissatisfaction. And so moving on to the further slides, I would request everybody in the audience to maybe pick out a pen and a paper, and we're going to be talking about different personality types, and I'm going to be sharing different examples. At the same time, if you find something relatable, note it down, maybe tell me later after the presentation. So without any further ado, if we have to find out our personality types, we have to ask ourselves these 4 questions. First, if you have to find out if you're extrovert or introvert, you have to ask, when I seek to recharge my batteries, do I seek company of others or do I seek to be alone? Second, sensing and intuiting. If I were to show you an apple, and I don't really have an apple, but actually I do. Yeah. Oh shit, sorry. Okay. If I were to show you an apple, would you guys use your senses to gather information? Like what color is it? What shape is it? Or would you look at the bigger picture? Like what does this apple represent? What's the perspective of this apple? Third, feeling and thinking. Do you usually react with your head or do you usually think with your brain or heart? Judging and perceiving is the way of living the world. If you were to be somewhere at 1 o'clock and you arrive there at 1 o'clock, do you think you're early or do you think you're late? That's how you judge or perceive things. But if I put it in simpler terms, judging is basically if you like having a very organized lifestyle. At the same time, perceiving is basically if you like to have a flexible lifestyle. Okay, without further ado, we're going to be talking about 16 MBIT personalities. So, going straight in it. I wish the presentation covered all of it, but the first one, the one in the orange, is ISFJ, and this one is ISTJ. So, coming to the orange portion first, ISFJ. ISFJ people are very conventional, they're very grounded, they have a very strong work ethic, and they're very dedicated to duty. One of the popular examples of ISFJ would be Selena Gomez. At the same time, I have a housemate of mine, Rudrik Gupta, who Niharika knows very well, and he is one of the most sweetest and the most dedicated person that I've ever seen. And there's one thing about Rudrik, that he's so organized that he's not satisfied until his job is not complete. Like he can't relax until his job is complete. Okay, coming to the second part, ISTJ. One of the examples could be Jeff Bezos. Now these people are very systematic and they're very orderly, they're very practical, very responsible, and they're very loyal. A lot of engineers, especially people in civil engineers, have this trait. Okay, moving on to the second one. The one in orange is INFJ. That's something that's very personal to me because I feel like that's my personality trait. Now, these people are one of the rarest of the 16 personalities. They're highly insightful about other people's needs, motivation. They're deeply caring, gentle, of course, and they make amazing advocates. And INFJ are very good with motivating because they help people find meaning in their work, which is something really spectacular. Okay, coming to the white portion, INTJ. One of the examples could be Elon Musk. They're very reasonable, very logical. They want to improve the world around them. They prefer discussions over just engaging in small talks. And if you look at I've also included the ideal careers for these people to follow. And for them, it would be architects, microbiologists. My ex was a microbiologist, and she had the same personality types. Okay, moving ahead. ISTP, the white one. One of the examples could be Bill Gates. They're very tolerable, very flexible, quick to find solution, very organized, very practical, values data, logic, and facts, and find ways to make things and learn along the way. Now, if you move on, ISTP, ISTP and ISFP. Now, I'll come to ISFP first because ISFP people value loyalty and commitment. They avoid confrontation at the same time. If I were to name an example, I guess one of the best examples of ISFP would be Bill Gates. Oh, not Bill Gates. Sorry, Ryan Gosling and Brad Pitt. And they make one of the things about them is they keep opinions to themselves and they rather not engage in large talk. Okay, coming on to the next. INFP. One of the things about INFP is that it's comprised of only 2% of the population. They're very creative. They can make inspiring team members and they love abstract thinking. Journalists, film editor are just a few professions that they can try. Coming to the right sides, INTP. They're great problem solvers. They're very creative, very intelligent, very attentive. One of the best examples of INTP could be Albert Einstein. And I can't help but quote one of the greats which comes to my mind. So Albert Einstein once said that logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. It just shows that how creative and attentive and intelligent these people are. Coming on to the next slide. Now we've covered the introvert slides. Now we start with E. First is ESTP. Who all have seen Wolf of Wall Street here? Okay, so if you guys know about Jordan Belfort, the movie Wolf of Wall Street is based on Jordan Belfort and his life. So this guy was an ESTP. They're very energetic, very pragmatic. They love working in a fast-paced environment and they love staying in the moment. Now, the best professions: actor, entrepreneur, stockbroker. I mean, of course. ESFP. Now, these guys are my favorites because these guys are basically entertainers when you find them in a large group. They love spending time with people. And yeah, one of the few examples could be Justin Bieber and Cristiano Ronaldo. Coming to the next one. Very quickly, we're going to go through these. ENFP. It comprises of 8% of the population, and fortunately or unfortunately, it comprises of more women than men. Now, these people are great at understanding how friendship, how groups and everything works, and it makes them natural leaders. They enjoy abstract thinking, they're experiential looking, and if I were to give you an example, it would be Jennifer Aniston from Friends. And they make amazing manager and amazing youth mentors. ENTP, the debaters. They focus on big things rather than working on routine things. They're very prone to entrepreneur thinking, and a lot of people who make big in lives and who make big in entrepreneur spirit, they turn out to be ENTP. They prefer working in highly conceptual work, very problem solving and very detailed at the same time. Now, ESTJ. One of the examples of ESTJ could be Theresa May, who served as the Prime Minister of UK from 2016 to 2019. They're good at both creating and executing plans, great executives, and yeah, so very quickly, I'm trying to finish this off quickly. ESFJ, one of the examples of ESFJ could be Taylor Swift. They strive to maintain harmony, and they also have this knack of pleasing people both at work and at home. Their regular schedules helps them to be productive. And yeah, they're very logical and they're very strict. Coming on to the last difference, ENFJ. They're very charismatic, very entrepreneurial leaders. One of the examples could be Jose Mourinho. Those who follow football know who I'm talking about. They're very highly intuitive, inspirational, look for opportunities to bring people together and make a difference. And one of the careers could be public debating and public speaking. Now, coming on to the last one, ENTJ, they make natural leaders, they're often honest, ready to make quick decisions, quick to spot inefficiencies, charismatic, confident. And one of the best examples could be Napoleon Bonaparte, whose movie is coming, I guess, in this month itself. So yeah, now we've covered all the personality types. But if you ask me that only studying these personality types is good enough, it's good enough for recruitment, the answer is no. Because if you look closely, there is no correlation that if you are ENTP, you'll be fit for this job. If you are ESTP, you'll be fit for this job. There's no correlation. It just boils down to what do you do as a person and what steps and what directions do you move forward your career in. If I talk about myself, I am an INFP with a visionary temperament, and I used to work part-time at Esso gas station, and things got so bad there because I hated doing routine work. I hated listening to my boss and I hated getting instructions, and in the end I got fired from the job. Now I can take it as a setback, or I can refer to psychology to understand that where I lie, where my faults lie, and to make myself a better person. Because if you're facing problem, honestly, guys, introverts needs extroversion for balance. Judging needs perspective. Sensing needs intuition to balance it out. So you need to understand yourself first to understand others. Now, ending, I would like to. So these are a list of references that we have. And concluding, I would like to say that wisdom is knowing about other people, but enlightenment is knowing about yourself first. And with that, we conclude the presentation of group number 1. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, I'd love to do questions. We had the technical problems, so let's take our team break, okay, and get the other team set up in the interim. And hopefully we won't run into the same, but we didn't have any, you guys won't be penalizing you for the technical glitch. It's not yours to worry about, but, and we'll give you some feedback on the quarter there, okay? While the next team gets set up.
Slides में slides এর অবস্থা দেখতে মিটিং করবে আমাদের আমি দেখি না সেখানে ফাঁকা দেখছি দেশে
Okay, let's, is it working? It's working.
No, so like yeah, to cover it. So we have chosen the PDF to like for presenting. So will that be fine?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Whatever works for the presentation, absolutely. Yeah. So, we're just, everyone's on a 5-minute break while we get you guys set up and we'll get you the other team feedback there. And, so, it's 5.
So good evening, guys. My name is Ilay. She's Kanya. He is Rohan, and he's Tanvir. We are gonna present about 5 best practices about personal selection, right? So our agenda is, our agenda is first one, introduce about the topic. Second is to like what are the major steps for personal selection. Third, it's about personal selection and managing high performance. We are gonna kind of relate to it. And the very next, the fourth slide is about structured interview. So we have tried to relate the theories and the concept of what Professor taught us with all the practices, right? And the very last one will be conclusion, okay? So just after looking at the picture, what do you guys see? What you saw? Just in 5 seconds or 2 seconds of lens, what did you guys see from that picture? For Professor, for you, I'll do it one more time. Sorry, yeah. So what did you guys see? What was it? 2 faces? You raise your hands. Just a glass, raise your hand. So the conclusion is, you all are high conflict person. Right. I'm sorry guys. I just wanted to let you know, as Professor told in our lectures, please don't trust all the internet psychological tests. Yes. Right? So yes, now we are going to start with our presentation. She's going to lead us now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilay. If I have to talk about one of the most important and basic concepts of human resource management that actually impacts the organizational performance heavily, that's undoubtedly personnel selection. And why? Let's find out. Hello everyone, this is Tanya Masabe, and I'm going to talk about different concepts of personnel selection, and I'm also gonna talk about the theories that we have learned in this class, and I will try to connect those theories to find out how we can make an impact on the performance of the employees and organization using the personnel selection tools. So we all know actually that what personnel selection is, but most of us have this common mistake that probably recruitment and selection are the same thing. But as HR professionals, we know that recruitment is basically letting the candidates know about the job openings, and selection is actually hiring the right fit for the job. So moving on. These are the basic steps of personnel selection. We all are familiarized with the steps, but I'd like to just have just a brief look on this. So it starts with initial screening. That's just taking the applications, and the initial interview happens there. And then the selected candidates go through employment tests, different employment tests, and the final interview for the selection happens there. And then HR go through the different background and reference checks, and followed by a physical examination. And then the final thing happens, that the final decision to hire. Now, personnel selection is, I would say, very important for an organization, because if we don't have the right people, we cannot ensure the high performance of an organization. So personnel selection basically helps to identify the high potential candidates who fits the job properly, and it also ensures that we can match the candidates with the skills and their skills to the job requirement that the opening is asking for. And of course, personnel selection also ensures that the candidate is aligned with the organizational culture, and of course the organizational values and goals. Now let's try to connect one of the tools of personnel selection to the temperament theory framework. Now, structured interview, I was talking about interview just a few moments before. So structured interview is one of the most commonly used tools of personnel selection. It actually deals with, it's basically a set of questions that are asked to each and every employee. It's the same questions for all the candidates. And actually studies have shown that structured interviews can predict the performance of an candidate 26%, whereas the unstructured ones can only predict it up to 40%. Now, we have seen this in our class. This is the temperament theory framework. It actually, we all know that it helps us find out the patterns of someone's personality and traits. And these are the 4 basic temperaments that we have learned. We have stabilizers, who are traditionalists, of course, and who are organized. We have troubleshooters, who are spontaneous and always on the go. And then we have catalysts, who are basically very human-oriented and relationship-oriented. And finally, we have visionaries, who are empathetic and creative and loves to build models. So now, if you want to use the structured interview tool throughout the temperament theories, what we can do is that to find out whether our candidates are stabilizers, troubleshooters, visionaries, or catalysts, we can ask these set of questions to actually find their temperaments. For example, we can ask candidates about how they are handling with routine tasks or deadlines and priorities and procedures, and how they can adhere to the rules to find out if they are stabilizers or not. Because we know that stabilizers are very organized in nature. Similarly, to find out if they are troubleshooters, we can always ask them questions based on unexpected challenges and situations that comes up at workplace. For visionaries, we can actually ask them questions about how much they are comfortable with analyzing data and developing a strategic plan. And for catalysts, of course, the questions will be based on more human relationships, and it will be also based on creativity, of course. So there are a lot other tools of personal selection that we can use to improve and manage the high performance. So I would like to invite our next member to discuss those in our presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Since we are discussing about personal selection process, I'd like to focus on integrated test, which also a part of the selection process. Integration test is a type of a pre-employment assessment designed to evaluate candidates' honesty, trustworthiness, and dependableness according to the organization standard. It can take various forms, including self-report questionnaire, situational judgment test (SJT), and behavioral assessment. In a self-report questionnaire, candidates might be asked a series of statements about their attitudes, beliefs, and past behaviors. It helps to understand the candidate's integrity, work ethic, and attitudes toward honesty. In a situational judgment test, candidates are given a hypothetical workplace situation to find out how candidates have. I'm sorry. In a situational judgment test, candidates are given hypothetical situations in the workplace and asked to choose the most appropriate course of action. It is to measure the candidate's decision-making skill and their judgments. In a behavioral assessment, the assessment includes questions about past experience in specific situations to find out how candidates have handled ethical dilemmas or situations that might take to make unethical decisions. The underlying goal of this test is to identify candidates who may have prone to unethical behavior such as fraud or dishonesty. Integrity tests can judge a person's emotional and social quotients too. EQ, emotional quotient, which we know as EQ, includes the ability to understand or manage someone's own emotion, being honest about his strengths and weaknesses. Some integrity tests ask about situations where candidates made a mistake or faced challenges. Persons who have a high EQ, they are more likely to admit their mistakes. They take full responsibility, not just dodging the bullets, and shows a mindset of growth. They have more willingness to learn from their mistakes. Also, some tests ask questions about candidates' actions that could impact others on his team. People who have high EQ, they show a sense of empathy and they consider other people's feelings when they make a decision. Most importantly, high-EQ personals excel in conflict resolution. It is a common question for an interviewer to ask: if you are aware of a conflict between your team, how would you intervene without demotivating your teammates? People with high EQ show empathy and consider their response in such behaviors demonstrate more interpersonal skills and empathy and complex situation handling abilities. Now coming to SQ, which is social quotient, SQ emphasizes more on values. People with high SQ take actions according to their deeply held values that they learn from their culture, family, society, or religion. If they're asked in the interview, like how would the candidate handle ethical dilemmas, Candidates with high SQ approach such challenges with a broader and spiritual perspective, and they back up their actions with moral reasoning. For example, I did not take this action even though it was beneficial for my team, but it was morally wrong. Last but not the least, coming back to the question, how did you handle mistakes or challenges? People with high SQ, they look at life as a continuous learning process, and they try to grow from their mistakes and like by never repeating the same mistakes, respecting their values. That's all from me. I'd like to call my teammate.
So hi guys again, how are you all? You know what? Hi professor. In this presentation only I was the one who was doing all the work. No, that's not fair. That's not fair, professor. But it was just a joke again. It's just that this is again one of the traits of a high conflict person, and I'm going to relate this in our behavioral assessment. Right. Now, behavioral assessment is a step which is really very crucial for any organization, right? If you know the person, how he's going to behave in certain situations, and if you know how he's going to respond to the high conflict scenarios, then it will be really very easy for you to run your organization really very smoothly, right? So we'll start with the first point, which is high conflict scenario simulation. Now, for example, let's just say that so I work in a teams, and if there is kind of a customer who is actually asking for the refund, and I don't want to give the refund. I don't want it. And I'm just gonna try and argue with my manager, with my customer, and I'm gonna ruin the reputation of my store itself, right? So that is kind of a trait of a high conflict person, which we don't want. We want our customers to be happy. We want our workplace to be really very positive to work around. So we can use this to judge them, right? The second point is conflict resolution style. By doing this, we will know how they are gonna, encountering the conflict, how they are gonna resolve it. So it's like, for example, in a stressful situation, you have been told like just now it happened, right? Before starting group 1's presentation, it was like we were having some technical issues, but if there was a high conflict person and if he was like, oh, I don't know how to do it, let others do it. I'm just sitting here, I'll be chilling, I don't want to do anything, right? But it's not that. From that particular point, we'll come to know like how they are going to react to the situations, and it will be easy for the organization to select the personnel for the best fit, right? The third one is response to a negative feedback. Now, if I'm telling my friend, my best friend, oh, you're not doing good, you're not doing proper job, he's going to take it really very good in a good way. But if professor is telling to some other student, then if that person is a very high conflict, if they are having a high conflict personality, then they are going to be like, oh, I don't like the professor now. I don't want to attend his classes also. I don't want to do good. Now I'll be sitting quiet. I'm not going to interact, or I'm not going to do anything. We don't want that in our organization. No. If we are giving criticism, or if we are giving feedback, or negative feedback, then we want the employees to take it in a good way and work on that negative point, right? So that's the third point. Fourth point is teamwork. Now, of course, just the way I entered right now, I done all the work, whereas I have not done. That is not how it should be. If you are in a teamwork, it is very important for an employee to be open-minded, to be accepting, and to be he should know how to get things done right and in the correct way and include each and everyone, and not depend on others for his work. If he's given the responsibility, he's supposed to complete it, right? So create this scenario also in front of them, how they are reacting, note it down, and you will come to know whether he's going to be a best fit for the teamwork surrounding him, right? The fifth one is role-playing exercise. It's kind of very similar to the very first one, but again, you'll come to know how he's gonna, take decisions, quick decisions, how he's dealing with the other team members also, and yeah, pretty much it. Then it is very important to know others' perspective also, which is the last point. So when you're taking interviews, just like what is happening right now in the present situation with professor, he's having two other partners also to get more perspective on like how will be the presentation and all, right? So it's good to have others' perspective also to select the best candidate for the organization, just so we can have a effective, a good positive environment for our organization, right? And professor told us in the lecture that we can use AI, which was ChatGPT, right? So I took the liberty and I generated a survey to identify some traits of high conflict person from the point of other employees, right? So this is the survey, professor, which AI generated for us, right? So I'm not gonna explain the details, sorry guys. So yeah, this will be all from my side. And the very next point is about interviewers error. This is about interviewers error.
Hello everyone. So far my friends talked about the practices and theories, but right now I'm going to talk about some of the errors from the interviewer. Well, the first one is halo effect. It first described in 1907 by Frederick Wells and confirmed in 1920 by Edward Thorndike. These two early psychologists established that so people tend to let the one element affect their perspective from other elements. For example, in my situation would be if I like one director, I would probably like the rest of all of his movies. I don't care what others say. I don't care what reviewer is gonna say. I will love all of his works. And in the work, it could be when a candidate showcasing work experience in a good company like Google. And the interviewer might like, oh, it's probably really good. Like he works in Google. So this error can conclude to a bias assessment and potentially overlooking candidate weaknesses. However, on the other side is horn effect, which is exactly the opposite, which is allowing a negative impression in one area to cloud the overall evaluation. For example, it's like when a candidate comes to a meeting and his hand is shaking. So the first impression in the interviewer perspective is going to be, oh, he's not good, like he doesn't have self-esteem. He's not going to be a good candidate, a good employee for us. And another example could be like when he is struggling with answering only one technical question. So yeah, and this is going to be risk of dismissing qualified candidates based on isolated differences. The next error is similar to knee bias. This is when unconsciously favoring candidates with similar backgrounds or interests. So again, for example, if I go to an interviewer in Canada and I see a person from my hometown, from my university, who was in the same club, like that would be like really interesting for me. Like me as an interviewer trying to help him more, like try to like because we have a lot of things to talk. So this is the impact of this can have potential lack of diversity and overlooking well-qualified candidates. And when I was gathering information for this presentation, I was thinking maybe this similar to me bias has a connection with high conflict peoples too, because they're trying to make group that only agree with them and disagree with the rest of the organization. So they may hire people that are more similar to them and have the same perspective. The next one is the stereotypes. It's making assumption based on characteristic like gender, ethnicity, and age. The age would be like, oh, she's probably, or he probably is old and they don't know about technology, they have lacks digital skills. The another, and from the ethnicity would be like, oh, like he's probably from Iran, he can't speak good English. And so it's gonna be a potential for biased judgment and unfair evaluation. The last one is leading question. It's like asking a question that guide candidates toward desired answer. For example, you like working in like fast-paced environment, don't you? Like, like the interviewer literally is giving the answer to him or her. And it's gonna be, the impact gonna be the risk of distorted understanding of candidates' true capabilities. Though the solutions, my friends talked about the solutions. So the first one is the diverse panel, trying to increase the interview from one to more to two or more. And they should have different backgrounds and different interests, and they have to take notes of pros and cons of a candidate, and they have to share, they have to talk with each other after the interview and share their perspective with each other. So it's gonna reduce the biases of similar to me, and a diverse perspective is always better for a fair assessment. The next one is a structured interview. My friend talks about it. It's gonna reduce the halo and horn effects and ensures the consistent assessment. The next one is training. We have to train the employee to have a better perspective of stereotypes and how a lot of them are wrong. And also, like a lot of biases are unconscious. So we have to, like the most important thing is the employee is self-aware of their biases. And yeah, the impact would be promoting diversity and inclusion and fostering an inclusive mindset. In summary, I'd like to say that with structured interviews and temperament theory, we can understand candidates better and consider diverse traits for the right fit. With the integrity test and emotional equations and SQ, we can address ethical behavior and emotional intelligence for candidates with strong values and interpersonal skills. As my friend Nilay said, with behavioral assessment and workplace conflict, can evaluate how candidates handle conflicts through behavioral assessment and surveys. And as I said to you guys, with finding out these biases and the solutions that we told you, we can contribute to a positive and inclusive work culture. Well, thank you everyone. I hope everything was crystal clear. We would be happy to hear your questions.
Thank you very much.
Questions for the team?
Thank you so much for not asking.
Yeah, as you can see,
You,
we
you
even
know
put
I
the-
will have questions.
We even put the OpenAI in the references.
Very good.
In the terminal.
Very interesting use of AI. Any questions or comments? Okay, I want to absolutely commend you guys on doing something I've very seldom seen groups do on this topic area, and that would be to look at both, well, actually a few things, but integrity testing. That one has been one that has been desired by employers for a very long time, and hasn't until perhaps recently been a very reliable set of tests available. So we're looking into them now to see if they sort of, we were looking about 4 or 5 years ago, just before the pandemic, and they weren't at a point of psychometric sophistication where you could rely upon them to a great degree, but we do know that at the time, companies were investing a great deal in trying to come up with better integrity testing. One of the weird things that's happened in the field of honesty research is that there's a bunch of honesty researchers not doing the testing, but looking at how to promote honest behavior, actually lied about their data. And so there's a big scandal in academia, and there should be, about unethical behavior, studying ethical behavior. And two big name researchers have been basically taken down. Dan Ariely, anybody heard of Dan Ariely stuff? If you see his stuff, looks like his data has been falsified. And who's the Francesco Gino. So if you see either of those two out there, they were big names in academia, and they looks like they both independently and together faked data on how to promote people and organizations in life being more honest. And it sounded very appealing and all the rest of it, but that's, so I just wanted to get that in there on the integrity testing stuff. And so what did you guys find about the quality of testing and things like that around integrity testing? What
So can you repeat the
Yeah,
question?
what about the integrity test? You mentioned situational judgment tests, right? For integrity testing. What did you find in the literature about their reliability, validity, things like that? Like, are they at the point of being sophisticated enough to rely on them as accurate prediction? And that has nothing to do with those two researchers. They weren't doing that work. They were just they were developing tests for integrity. So it's not about that. But what did you guys find?
So Professor, actually, I haven't found, but like for the integrity test, what I feel is like any kind of personality test or any integrity test can be manipulated by the employer itself, right? So for example, if they know like they are doing the test, of course they're gonna rely on that. So for me or for my group, it's the integrity. I know we have included as one of the best practices, but as you told that they are actually working on it right now to get the best outcome of it. But for me also, like I would really I'm actually very interested in to introduce that integrity test in the organization, because it can be really very reliable if it is filled properly, or even the employees are actually ethical about it. But I haven't found anything on the search. But then yeah, this is what I feel about integrated tests. So.
Yeah, well, it's food for thought to consider. Make sure when you're doing selection work out there that you can't be sued for using a test that doesn't predict performance, right? So you brought in the integrity testing, and then the interviewer errors. Wow, fantastic, amazing. Halo, Warren, similar to me, bias, stereotypes. We train in organizations all the time exactly to help them not make those kinds of errors. And those are so vital, and those are things that you can bring to your organizations and make sure that they're not. Because most people that are interviewing have never been trained on interviewing, right? And it's very unfortunate. The leading questions, right? Well, of course you like high intensity workplace, Oh yeah, I love quiet. Of course you like diversity in the workplace, don't you? Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, so that's really good. I gotta say though, and everybody's, I need to say this, you cannot use temperament theory in hiring. It is an invalid predictor, okay? So we work with organizations and we do type and temperament theory all the time, and they'll sometimes ask us once we've done an interview, well, what do you think their type is or their temperament? And we will form an opinion of that, because we watch a movie and we can tell the temperaments of the characters in the movie, right? You can just see that coming out. But we always say we cannot use that as a predictor of performance. You can use OCEAN, which was talked about in the last presentation. So OCEAN, tests based on OCEAN can be used as a valid predictor when they are built for that purpose, right? So there are personality tests that can be used. Temperament can't be used. It tells us what you might be interested in. It doesn't tell us if you'd be good at it, okay? So I want you to make that modification in your slides, okay? To say, you can leave it in, but say, you can't use this as a valid predictor of performance. If people want to, our clients want to, right? They'll say, well, they're NF, they'll probably fit in with their team. It's like, we're not gonna say that to you, because yeah, they seem to be NF in their temperament, but we do not lead with that. We'll answer our clients' questions, but we don't bring that up because it is not a valid predictor.
Because there's the light and the dark side of personality, right? And so everyone with a personality type can also have dark traits, so
Which you
you're
guys
only
brought
gonna
up,
look
which is
at
great.
light side.
That's another point, so.
No, it's okay, if you're only gonna look at the light side, that's not gonna get the whole picture and help you adequately select for the role, so it's not sufficient.
Donald
That's
Trump is a troubleshooter, but that's not why he's dangerous, okay? Because troubleshooters are great, they're fantastic, 27% of the population. He's got all 4 dark traits, that's what makes him a problem, okay? Vladimir Putin is a visionary, but not a pleasant one, right? Because of 4 dark traits. So he's a visionary, but so is
Hitler was a catalyst.
Hitler was a catalyst, okay? Probably my personality type, INFJ, but dark right across the board. So to Anjani's point there, yeah, the dark stuff, and you brought in the dark stuff, which is not something that most organizations are even aware of, right? They haven't even heard of this stuff yet at SoGID. And so you're looking at, how can we look for this? And our clients are asking us, now that they know about it, to help them isolate. There aren't tests yet that are reliable and valid for that. There's checklists that somebody who's observing somebody, like the one you had AI set up for high conflict people. That's kind of like a checklist that you could use if somebody knows a person, right? And you could say, have you seen them do these things? But, a high conflict person, given a test that, would simply know how to answer, right? They would say, oh, I'm not.
That's what we struggle with as well in our selection process, is a self-report is not reliable, right? Because you can fake good.
Yeah.
So, but there's ways around it now with.
So even that survey was like for other employees to fill up.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like
yeah,
you did.
so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And even professors are like, there is no particular test for to find the high conflict person, but there are some methods to get around it. So yeah.
So what we do in that is we do a 4-hour interview. Right, I mentioned it in class complex. We do a 4-hour interview. We have at least it's usually be Adrian and I, or Amir and Adrian, or Amir and I, right? Amir and Anjani. We'll always have people that are fully trained in the dark traits, and the idea behind 4 hours. The questions are not revealing of whether somebody is dark or not. Over the span of 4 hours, they drop their guard and they start to leak. Okay, so even the first 2 hours, we don't see too much. Sometimes we do. Sometimes it screams at us right from the first question. Adrian did one not too long ago.
I was gonna say my last question, I saved the question for last on purpose, because I saw the person they weren't keeping up appearances as well, right? So by that 4th hour, the last question I asked was, what is something that you would tell your younger self? And then they said, that other people's feelings don't matter. Thank you. Right, so,
So over time, they tend to drop their guard. And look, most people, everybody who's gone through it tells us that was fun. They actually say that was fun. Some have said, I wish I recorded that for my kids, because it's my whole life story. And we don't ask personal stories, we only ask workplace, but then they tend to go broader, and that's fine if they choose to tell us about the importance of a parent figure in their life or something like that, that's okay. But we don't ask, right? We don't ask that stuff, because that would be illegal. You can't ask about your parents, can't ask about those kinds of things. So, so that's the one technique that we have thus far. We would love a test that will do that. The good news about testing today is that it can be very hard now to tell what the test is actually getting at, right? So it doesn't ask you directly about your conflict style. So the test that we use from SHL, which is our favorite test provider, will ask it'll give you 4 word choices, just for personality and emotion. It'll give you 4 word choices, and you rank the 4 words. None of them are more socially desirable. It's not like one is being, goodness and one is badness or something like that. You can't see through the intention of the question. So psychometrics is getting to that point, or is at that point for most things, but that's what we're looking for in the integrity testing. Whether they've got to a point where, because if you ask, what's the right thing to do if you find $100 bill on the street, well, most people are gonna keep it regardless.
Yeah,
But what would you say in the test? Oh, I go to the police station and
You're
right.
an officer.
Yeah, you're police,
$100.
yeah. So that was great. Just keep in mind, you can't use temperament, you can't use emotion. We talked about that, and great job. Yeah, we're a little bit over time, so we'll see you guys up in the front, show some feedback, and we'll see everybody for next class. Good job.